Okay, last but not least, a team that put their heart and soul into their game, literally, Team 13.
Hi everyone, we're Team Mania, and we bring forward our game, Pentamania. I'm Rena, the artist/producer.
I'm Aaron, the sound designer.
I'm Ala, programmer.
I'm Brogan, the other artist.
I'm Dylan, a programmer.
And I'm Melanie, a programmer.
So, what is Pentamania? Pentamania is a first-person VR role-playing alchemy game where you play as a psycho-alchemist to make potions and summon Cthulhu. And Cthulhu is, like the first photo on the side, a really scary alien god from under the sea, and its presence will make people crazy. And you can see in our original game loop, we would make multiple Cthulhu-style gods. That is out of scope. So this is why we changed it to an alchemy central game, and Dylan will introduce the alchemy part.
Originally, Pentamania was a game about following a recipe book very closely, but after interims and after doing paper playtests, we realized that that wasn't actually that fun. So to encourage more player freedom and exploration, we introduced a system of elements where each ingredient would have elements and you'd combine them to make potions. But that system also proved very complicated, so we needed a way to convey that information to the player.
And that was done through the book. The book might be one of the most insane elements of this game, and it consumed me for my entire time after entrance. It is 39 pages long and contains literally every single facet of the entire game. It has every ingredient described, it has every recipe, it has every crafting machine, and they are all in great detail. You can just tell from a brief look at the images what's going on in the ingredients. You can reference the bars at the bottom to tell the elemental compositions of these ingredients. But if you take the time to read it all, you'll get a lot of flavor text, world building, random references, and add a lot more depth to the game as a whole.
Finally, I have the Necronomicon. With the potions inside, I can summon Cthulhu and rule the world. I should collect a few bottles for you. It might prove useful.
One of the pieces of feedback that we got in terms of sound after interims was that the sound could use more world building. So one thing that we all came up with was adding voice lines. Voice lines help provide player feedback while also expanding the world building. For example, this voice line plays when you enter the game for the first time.
Finally, I have the Necronomicon. With the potions inside, I can summon Cthulhu and rule the world.
All of our voice lines are done by our programmer Dylan. He's very good at this. For every time the player brews a potion incorrectly, there's also voice lines that play, and also there are some voice lines that help guide the player towards what they did wrong. So,
Damn it! I'm getting nowhere.
I need to be more careful about what I put in.
There are also voice lines for when a player brews a potion correctly. Every single potion in this game has their own unique voice line that plays the first time the player brews it, sort of push the player in the right direction. For example,
Oh. Perfect.
this is the voice line for the decay potion. And every subsequent brewing will play a generic voice line success.
It's progress. Great.
So in Pentamania, we have a variety of different ingredients, and in code, we need to be able to handle all of them. Each ingredient has a set of traits, different elements such as poison or chaos, and then when you throw these in the cauldron, they combine together. Then the cauldron checks if those traits add up to match certain recipes, and if they do, you get a successful potion.
And moving on to the art side of ingredients design, we started with some normal ingredients that you would expect, like flowers and then metals, and then we started getting a little crazy with magical and psychedelic mushrooms, the eyeballs, the unicorn horn and devil horn, and especially your soul. Yeah, that's an ingredient.
So, since the player is interacting with many different materials and ingredients, I gave sound effects to almost every single item type, including various plants, books, rock materials, more organic flesh-used materials, wood, and also glass bottles.
In Pentamania, we have a variety of crafting machines. This is because just having a bunch of ingredients just isn't quite enough freedom. So we need to have ways for the player to manipulate those ingredients and change the elements that are attached to them. We have 3 different crafting machines. We have the mortar and pestle, which lets you grind up your ingredients to get more granular control over how much you add. We have the Bunsen burner, which lets you aggravate the ingredients with heat to increase their weakest elements, adding more flexibility. And we have the crystal ball, which lets you transmute ingredients into their opposite and get access to elements you otherwise wouldn't be able to use.
In modeling those crafting machines, we had to make sure that they were actually modular and functional. So, for example, the mortar and pestle, you can take out the pestle and grind up things. The spoon fits inside the cauldron and lets you stir it up. And the Bunsen burner has a plate that lets you put the ingredients on it. We also made some other items in the scene, like the clock and the shelf, that serve other purposes. The clock actually reflects the real world time, because you can't easily tell what time it is and you can get lost in VR. And the shelf can store the ingredients, and there's also a ladder that attaches to it so you can climb up and reach higher shelves.
So, all of the crafting machines have their own individual sounds. For example, the cauldron plays the sound when more than one ingredient is placed inside. Sort of a bubbling sound. And for the potion brewing process, there are 2 things that can happen. Either you brew a potion correctly, where there will be a little ding, or you could brew incorrectly, whereas the potion and the cauldron will explode. The mortar and pestle also has a grind sound. The Bunsen burner can be switched, burned, and any object that passes through it will produce a fire sound. Also, the crystal ball has a unique ambience. It has its own ambience that plays on loop in the scene. And any object that passes through it will produce a sound.
But all of these items wouldn't really work as well without the environment. You can see an early concept that we had here, because Pentamania takes place in a single room. So we wanted to really feel cozy, lived in, a little bit claustrophobic and a little bit creepy, with splatters everywhere, and really feeling like a crazy person lives in this house. You can see what we looked like when we had our concept in color, and what it looked like when modeled blankly in Maya. And then the full implemented version in Unity with shaders and fully textured everything in the scene. We really tried to make it feel like someone actually authentically lived there and contribute really to our world building.
Oh, post-processing and lighting. As you can see in the first photo, it's a room full of eyeballs. That's a photo that we found with no post-processing and lighting. And the second one is when we added something that we thought looked good in Unity, and we realized in VR, no. You would be overstimulated and get crazy motion blurs and stuff. So on the last 2 photos, it's when we try to redo the lighting and post-processing, making it so that the player feels it's immersive, and at the same time in VR it looks great. And post-processing is like a filter you put on camera.
So in order to contribute more to the environment of our game, we decided to add the main juice of it, which is the effects. So as you can see, we included a cannon frame to re-add to the ambience of it. We included a poof and bubbling on the cauldron to reassure that the players actually making the potions, and then a dust particle effect for when using the mortar or pestle.
Other than the ordinary particle effects, we want to make sure that all the crafting machines are well marked. So we made specific, different visual effects for all of the crafting machines, which makes sure that the player knows they are the essential object within the game. All the VFX are done in the visual effects graph in the Unity, and there are some other special materials such as the liquid inside the cauldron and the soil material are done with the shader graph. And we also have a task system to guide the player and let them know what to do next. After you finish a task, another task will be assigned and there's a tentacle comes out. And all the tasks are requesting specific potions that the player will need to make. And this is also related to the recipe book, which is mentioned before. After you finish the task, a new page will be unlocked in the recipe book.
You might be wondering, well, where did Cthulhu go? This is what we did with Cthulhu. We kind of cut it down because we realized modeling a whole monster is a little bit out of scope. But at the end of the game, the Cthulhu would crawl out the magic circle, as you can see, and kill the player a little.
There's also a cool tentacle sound.
So, that's the end of the game and the UI design. Well, what we tried to do with the UI design is make sure that the start and the end menu capture the full gameplay loop. It's basically the potions, you throw it on a magic circle, and the Cthulhu breaks out. So, thank you guys!
Thank you!